international corporations are modifying our weather all the time, and they're modifying it in ways that cover thousands and thousands of square miles. Programs are impacting microclimates needed for our crops to survive and needed for pollination. The other issue is that a lot of times we're talking about mitigation for climate change. It's rather an undefined term at this period of time. And so what happens is that many times we're talking about artificially putting chemicals like sulfur or particulates into the atmosphere in what they call geoengineering schemes to reduce, supposedly, global warming. And if you take and you put up into our skies chemicals to reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the earth, you are going to begin to reduce crop production. Without the process of photosynthesis, whereby plants from direct sunlight gain the energy to grow, to produce crops, we are going to find ourselves, if we mitigate in that direction, impacting the crop production not only here in the United States, but worldwide. What you're seeing now, a lot of times, many scientists know, especially at NASA and in other areas, that the skies that we're seeing are not normal cloud formations. These are man-made. In California, the State Department of Health drinking water tests were examined between 1970 and this year, and we found unusual spiking in barium, aluminum, strontium, manganese, and all of these spiked at the same time in various drinking water supplies across the state of California and also in Arizona. So what's happening with these atmospheric tests is that aluminum, as one example, gets into the root systems of our trees, and it looks like the trees are dying of drought, but they're not. Many of our forests in Redding, California and other areas are dying from warmer temperatures produced by persistent jet contrails, also impacting tree health and crop health. They know from scientific studies back in the 1970s that they deplete beneficial ozone in the atmosphere by releasing nitric acid.
I'm really getting gagging a lot and not able to get it out so that he can take a breath.
Looks like he's gonna die. Poor kid.
Cough, 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 and then gasping for air.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't sound like any fun. No, it doesn't.
Okay, we're back with our final hour here that we're going to be with Ilana Friedland as we talk about under an ionized sky, from chemtrails to space fence lockdown. Let's talk about that again. Ilana, if you can, explain space fence lockdown.
As I said, it all started with the SDI program back under Reagan in the 80s, and then it went underground. It went black, I think. And they worked on the atmosphere to get it to be filled with ions so that it would be electrically charged from the get-go, and therefore would be available 24/7 for wireless operations. At the same time this is all going on, lo and behold, we citizens are all given the computer, and then we're given the cell phones that no one now can live without. And so these wireless apparatus were to be used in the space fence lockdown. But they looked benign, they looked convenient, they gave us entertainment, they were comforting, very flashy and cool. But really, if we look around at all of the towers, at the Internet of Things now coming online, all the gewgaws in people's houses that have computers in them. Their car has a multitude of computers in it. Everywhere we look, a tower is going up for more wireless access, greater speed, greater content, faster flow, blah, blah, blah. But really what's gone on is we've been surrounded by what we're now being plugged into. And the only thing different from all of these civilian conveniences is that they're covertly what the military calls dual use. They're military and they're civilian. So all this stuff is military and civilian. Now, above the Earth, where our sounding rockets go, they go zooming up into the stratosphere, and they always have some story about they're going to be testing something, or they're Elon Musk type private enterprise. They're putting a satellite up there or whatever. This is part of it. And those metals that are spewed out the back of those rockets are virtually identical to the metals being spewed out of the backs of jets from the combustion chamber. So we have all these metals going up into the stratosphere. Many of them get caught up in the centrifugal force of the Earth and eventually sort of settle around the equator in a ring. And this is the illustration I have on the cover of the book. There's a ring of metals. This is all nanoscale metals,
okay.
Billions and trillions of them, and they're all making a ring very similar to that of Saturn, if you really look at it. And between that ring and the ground infrastructure that we now have, besides the towers, we've got radar installations, we've got NEXRADs, we've got even our wind farms are part of this. Even our fracking is part of this. And certainly all along, we now have scalar technology, which actually goes through the Earth. So everything is electrified, everything is wireless, and we...